Okay, so it's a simple fix, but it's not that simple. So we'll talk about it a little bit. So essentially, you have to set a configurator to make sure that any of the paths that are subbed through your controller will not respond to a URL routing. How do we do that? We set up an MVC configuration, just a configuration tool. And then we set up the paths that could be routed to student/student/students/students with asterisks after it, /student. These are all the routes that can be part of it. And then what it's going to route it to, it's going to automatically route it to index.html. That means the index.html is going to do the routing for us. Great. And that'll handle 100% of the routing. That'll make any page that you try to go to. For instance, I try to go to a Whodot page. It doesn't exist. Angular is going to deal with it, not Spring Boot. That solves the deployment issue. Have you? Like I said, there are two primary forces at play, whether you're using, regardless of what backend you use. You can configure your backend to let Angular do all the routing. You can and then stick the compile the code or transpile the code as we call it, transpile the code and put it in the static resources. That's what we have here, and then deploy it via jar or however you're going to deploy your backend. Now the Angular code is with your backend. Any changes you need to make would need to be recompiled and then redeployed out, which usually isn't that big of a deal, to be honest. But like I said, some organizations keep them separate, Node.js and what you call it. However, the caveat to that, of course, is you have a larger surface attack area. But our people will argue that it's roughly the same surface attack area because instead of Spring Boot being deployed, now you have Angular and Spring Boot's being hidden. In either case, if we have cores enabled and you're doing a single deployment, such as taking Angular and putting it in Spring Boot, we typically take the cores out, simply put, because it does provide an attack surface that we don't need. We don't need to allow cores. We don't need it cores. We don't need to allow that to happen. And as a result, we can just avoid that completely. All right, this is the last recording. Then we're going to go into security, and I think we wrap up. Thank you, guys. You have a great day.